Kate and I are going to talk about getting through Christmas sober. Our main sort of things we'd like to talk about is dealing with this difficult period and trying to make it as fun and as sparkly and happy as possible. Self-care strategies and Christmas time. So we started to think about the model of the Christmas Carol, didn't we? In terms of the ghost of Christmas past, present and future. So obviously that's a kind of coaching technique to look at where you have been, where you are now and where you want to be. So if you think about your kind of worst, I'm sure everyone's got one. I've certainly got a few worst Christmas experiences as being the ghost of Christmas past. That's where you have been, and obviously where you want to move forward from. So and then obviously you have where you want to be, so the future, so the ghost of Christmas future. Kate, do you want to say something about your future self?
Yeah, well, you said, didn't you? It's hello everyone, by the way. We don't even know if we're going live or anything. We're like, what are we doing? But anyway, we'll crack on. Yeah, so I think it's a good technique. We're often talking about play it forward, start with the end in mind. You know, there's a lot of that, isn't there? When you first stop drinking, it's a real change. And so there's a lot of that kind of future focus, like putting in the work now to get the benefits in the future. And I think when Christmas period comes up and kind of, it's quite a full-on kind of period for reasons which we'll be going into why we feel it's a bit full-on. And so to look at that future and think, well, what do I want, and play it forward, and use that strategy again. And remember, I guess what we were going to say at the end is just one day essentially, but we've got to get through and the Christmas parties and all the rest of it and the socializing, so it can be quite daunting. So remember where we came from with that Christmas past, and never forget, in the words of Take That, where it was coming from, but keep an eye on the future as well. So that was our model, the Scrooge model.
Yeah, so I think if you're looking, I mean, it could be you looking far into the future. So what does your Christmases from here on now, what do you want them to look like? Or perhaps it's simply, what do you want to be doing, and which headspace and where do you want to be when it comes to January? So, or when it comes to Boxing Day. I mean, for me, Christmas has always been massively triggery. I actually decided to quit drinking the first time properly on the 27th, because that Christmas was when my drinking really got to sort of a critical point. So, and I've also gone back to drinking around Christmas because of the whole festive idea of it, and so it's a tentative time. So yeah, I mean, projecting forward, where do you want to be? What does it look like? How are you going to get there? And I guess that's when we come to the ghost of Christmas present. So what's happening around you now, and what sort of strategies can you put in place for self-care to kind of help you get from where you are now into the future. So
what you do now, I mean, that's we always say that one day at a time, and what you do now, the choices that we make every day, I think that's something we become very acutely aware of when we stop drinking, when we're doing the sober path. It's like that, those choices every day, that's what makes your future, isn't it? It's like that, the transformation is the result of those daily actions. So that's where we came up with Christmas present. And I said the best Christmas present you could ever give yourself is to be sober. And I thought, actually, that's really too annoying, I can't say it, but anyway, I've said it now.
No, you said it. I think I mean, one major thing to start with is your what and your why. So why are you sober? What does it mean to you? And really fixate that in your mind, and perhaps write that down, or continue to write it down throughout this period where you're being tested. Why am I doing it? What's the reason? Is it for my health? Is it for my kids? Is it for for my general well-being, my mental health, and also what does Christmas mean to you, and why is Christmas important? Kate and I, we don't really feel the same about Christmas. I am a bit of a Scrooge. I'm not massively keen on the Christmas period. It's fine. When the kids were little, I did the whole Father Christmas thing, but now they're a bit bigger. I'd happily just not really do it all. Maybe have we don't have like real traditions. We have whatever kind of beef or fish or whatever, I kind of chuck the turkey out the window. Whereas for you, it's very important, isn't it? Those Christmas traditions.
Yeah, that I don't
So
like
I guess it depends.
material,
Yeah.
the material sort of side of it. I don't particularly buy into, but I do love the sort of Yuletide and the switching on the Christmas tree lights and the Father Christmas and that and all that kind of stuff, that kind of midwinter stuff, which I really, really like. But I mean, we were sort of saying though, this is maybe the point to bring it in about reframing. Like it doesn't have to look like it looks on the chocolate box. And it never does anyway, does it? Because there's always someone in a half
No.
just someone's burnt something, or and I know we've got a really a lovely friend, a lovely sober friend from last year who she sung at the Albert Hall for a start, and then she volunteered for Crisis because she just didn't want to do that whole family thing, did she?
No.
And so I don't know whether to mention her name, but big shout to her. If you're listening in, her, then give us a nod and then we can actually say your name. But again, looking at sort of Christmas present, like the now, maybe we should go through what kind of obstacles might we come up with, or what we've come up with, and then strategies really to kind of to boss it in the best way. So the kind of problems that we could come up with, what are those?
So the first one being HALT. So HALT, if you don't know, it's the acronym which is often talked about in terms of the emotional states that you can be in, which will trigger you to want to drink. So HALT meaning H for hungry. Normally that's not a massive problem over Christmas. But it's more that kind of not looking after yourself in terms of nourishment, and not being busy with everybody else, and not sort of concentrating on yourself and making sure that you eat can be a trigger. Or being actually thirsty, like I definitely drank a lot of wine when I just could have had a glass of water because I was really dehydrated. A for angry. So that can be a big one for around the Christmas period. And I guess, what would you say as a strategy for that? I mean, it's not only anger, is it? It's more kind of that frustration or being with family.
Overwhelm, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think, because I feel, very peopled out. So it's, it's the opposite of like the lonely, I guess, is for me. And I have to put a bit of gratitude in there as well, because obviously I have got my family, so I'm lucky. But even though I love them more than anyone else in the world, it literally makes me want to go running out into the street with a fork, like stabbing at air, when I've just kind of not got a bit of space, and like expectations and I don't know, the atmosphere can kind of get into a whirl, can't it? And everyone's stress and everyone's expectations can make it very, very stressy, especially if you're kind of quite empathic, which I think, it is a generalisation, but a lot of the kind of people who've used alcohol to kind of self-medicate tend to be that sort of introvert empath thing. So it's like being in a freaking noisy room, and you are in a freaking noisy room. So it's, these kind of take 5, go around the block, just really...
I mean, I think that I said this, I was on a family kind of holiday quite recently. It's like that being lonely in a crowded room, that's quite often how I feel when there's loads of people around and they're all busy, and especially, over Christmas, everyone's drinking and they've got this thing, and that thing of being lonely is quite strong. And then tired, obviously, is the last. So hungry, angry, lonely, tired. Those are major kind of trigger points to think about and be careful of. I think with tiredness and overwhelm, making sure you have breaks, going out for a walk, doing yoga, doing meditation, listening to podcasts, spending some time by yourself is really, really important. All these things we talk about is proactive self-care. So it's like planning beforehand before you get to that point. So what do you need, and really meeting those needs, I guess, to help you through. So make sure you have lots of lovely treats. Make sure you have lots of alcohol-free drinks in the house. There's so much bigger range now than there were. So I think Club Soda has discounts with Dry Drinker and Wise Bartender, I think. So and for lonely, so we said that it would be good to have a tribe, didn't we, to try and set yourselves up with
Yeah, I think there's some of the strategies of, the sort of kind of having a tribe and making sure that, like we did last year, we were just on a thread, weren't we, on Soberistas, and we were just kind of checking in every day. It was a bit like an advent calendar. So we took that idea. We said, well, actually, as part of your proactive self-care and this kind of feeding into treats, sort of, you could have that. You could buddy up with people and do a daily countdown. You could reward yourself every day and have a little like sober advent calendar. And really, just feel that connection from other people that get it. Because I think that, the pressure does ramp up, doesn't it, with all the advertising and the socializing, and and I mean, I'll digress a little bit here, because this is sort of one thing that I feel really strongly about, and like having pieced all that together in my head was a really big sort of power tool, sober power tool, was this kind of understanding how we're marketed at, in that kind of, you can't connect without, you can't experience joy without me message of alcohol, you can't without me. So all of those, when we're like, we're struggling with the overwhelm, trying to get the turkey in and out. We're like, it's going to melt down. If I freak out, I'm going to ruin everyone's time. So let's just have a glass of wine and shut it all up, So you've got that kind of going on. And also the, the socializing, the big social sort of stuff is kicking off. And then this expectation that we're all supposed to be having such a freaking amazing time. And, that's really ramped up and sold us in advertising and everywhere we look. So I think, it's almost like, I see it as almost like running a bit of a the first time, like I was saying, this is my 6th year. It will be my 6th Christmas and sober. And but I remember right back at the beginning, it did feel like running the gauntlet, really. Like, a bit like a video game, sort of, with your fatigues on, with your sparkly shoe fatigues, and you're like taking it down, like,
well, we were saying that, weren't we? I mean, it's like we thought about for your treat calendar, perhaps you have an event that you're dreading. I mean, there's two things with events. It's like, we say this to each other all the time in terms of boundaries. You don't have to go. Like, we say to ourselves all the time, oh no, I can't not go. And it's like, really, if you really think about it, who's holding a gun to your head? You can just say no and say, I'm sorry. And even if you tell a white lie and say, I'm a bit sick, or I don't feel like it, you can just not go.
You can have,
if there's something, yeah. I mean, there's some things that you might want to go, and you really do, and you don't want to miss out, but you're very anxious about. And then we were thinking you could use that kind of advent calendar to buy little things for your outfit, like get your nails done, or if you're a man, get your nails done, or buy a lipstick, get some nice underwear, buy some shoes, whatever, so you're kind of building up, but you're protecting yourself, and that's your kind of armor. So when you get to that day, whether it's the work's Christmas do or family Christmas day, then you go in there rocking and feeling like, right, I've put in the work and I'm not going to let myself down on this day. So any of those things to really boost yourself and really like feel good about yourself is really important, I think. So as we said, in terms of if it's something that's really freaking you out, then why not flip it and do something different? And also think about who's coming to who. Like, are you going to other people's houses or are they coming to your house? Because it's completely different rules. You know, go with your drinks, have a time to leave. All those things can really help.
Mm.
So we talked about halt, also like FOMO and JOMO. So FOMO is one of those things that I used to feel all the time. Now
Now we
I'm
feel
much more. I'm much more in the JOMO category. So JOMO is what, Kate?
the
Explain
joy of
JOMO.
out. It's the joy of missing out, and I sort of, well, credit being sober for it, but also the hygge, you know, the Danish art of happiness that became like the biggest lifestyle trend a couple of years ago, and everyone sort of got their cozy socks on, and suddenly it was like, yes, okay, this is all working. You know, us in the northern European countries really can embrace that whole cozy thing. And I definitely feel like that, and I do feel that. I think that, you know, often we do, you know, I definitely used alcohol to shoehorn myself into, you know, social situations that I didn't want. And that brings me on to, actually, I was speaking to someone recently, and this light bulb went off with me, and I think with her, and it was that we were talking about the duration, just how long we could stand being in a social environment. And she was saying she got really triggered. Like, and I was saying, well, when, you know, what time did you? And she was like, well, it's about an hour and a half. And I said, maybe that's enough. And she was like, maybe that's my window. I was like, maybe that's your window. Got me talking to other people. And the more people I talked to, they were like, actually, yeah, 2 hours really is long enough. So if that's your window, like, well, you can find out. You could actually do like a little experiment. If you kind of go have a sort of a thing to go to, a party to go to, like, I find it really useful to kind of flip it and be like a bit of a detective and kind of go, right, well, who's drinking what? So that I'm not thinking about me. Who's drinking what? And look at that. Oh, what's that? And I wonder this, that, and the other. And I just sort of gives me a little bit of a, you know, a different vantage
Something
point.
to do, I guess. Yeah, distract, isn't it?
Yeah. And just stops me thinking about me. I suppose it's just framing it slightly differently. And but also you could sort of time it. You could put your stopwatch on your phone or something and literally time when you start feeling like you've had enough, slightly triggered, like I need to go to the loo and get a bit of a brain space. And that might just give you that idea about what your window is, and you can plan around that then. It's like, well, if you are hosting, you maybe do an afternoon thing.
Mm.
And if people at 3, and make it clear they need to be gone by 6 or something, you know what I mean? Put someone else in charge of drinks. My husband's always in charge of drinks. And, you know, just you can boundary it. I think we've got locked into thinking how socializing should look, and it really doesn't have to. I mean, also, I guess thanks to things like Club Soda, you know, this is actually changing, but, you know, still out in, you know, office party world, and especially ramping up to Christmas party world, I think we still revert to that stereotype of what socializing and where we get our connection needs to look like. But yeah, so maybe just boundary it, have a bit of fun with it, play with it, and then know what your window is and get out of there.
Yeah, something came up
Right.
actually from Belle, who does Tired of Thinking About Drinking, which is a brilliant resource, and she put together like a bingo sheet, which I love. It's like anything that you can play with, which is going to help you to kind of give yourself a bit of a mission, something you can pat your back on, pat your back on, pack your back, pats your back about. So she put together this list, and you have to get a 10 out of 10 score, you have to do all these tasks within the evening. So task number 1 is to arrive late. Yeah, so obviously you want to be in that social situation for as little time as possible. Number 2, take replacement drinks. Number 3, count the number of people not drinking. Number 4, speak to one of them. So, you know, try and find someone that's not drinking and speak to them. Number 5, identify someone who is drinking too much. Number 6, leave early. Number 7, email or text someone sober support before you go. Number 8, email or text someone again when you get home. Number 9, which is our favorite, plan a treat for when it's over. And number 10, dance around the kitchen saying, this shit is hard, but I, bad word, rock. So I'll post it in Club Soda, but I just love that thing. You're just taking it off. It's like putting your, as we said, putting your army fatigues on with your sparkly hat and your kick-ass boots and just getting out there and going, right, I am not going to be beaten by this, because I've packed my rucksack full of tools, my sober toolkit, whatever it is, a sober buddy to chat with in the loo. Like, you can always DM me on Instagram. Quite often people will say, hey Mandy, I've got this party, like can I just DM you sort of halfway through the evening? Sorry, DM, that sounds so ridiculous, doesn't it? Send me a private message and I'll just be like, hey, how's it going, to get you through. Have your drinks ready, so that's kind of your ammunition, isn't it, to look after yourself and get in and get out, basically.
Yeah, that's right. It's like Black Ops, get in and get out. No, but I remember doing. I've got to give a shout out to Rebecca Weller, who does Sexy Sobriety, and she's just such a lovely lady. And she gave me the idea of a blog I put on LoveSober, actually, about Christmas socialising, and we could link that somehow, couldn't we? Or visit lovesober.com. And it's in the blog section, but it's always awkward before it's elegant. Because I just think sometimes you give yourself permission to go, yeah, this might feel a little bit weird, but I'm allowed to play with it, and I'm allowed to, it's that practice, and then you get to unconscious competence, or whatever it's called.
Yeah. Right, we talked about as well, didn't we, like perhaps now, before December starts, like write yourself like loads, search for loads of mantras that speak to you, like little inspirational quotes, put them in a bowl, and every day you pick one out, and it's just that kind of like, we talk about one day at a time. So it's like giving yourself something every day which just kind of anchors you to your sobriety, and just gives you that little boost, whether it's a little treat or whether it's a mantra, or whether you're working towards something, doing a project, a creative project, I don't know.
And then I was just going to say about leading on from that always awkward and elegant quote. She said, have 3 drinks in mind as well. Don't just have one. So that if you go to the bar and they say, oh, you say, oh, can I have whatever it is? And they go, oh, no, I'm sorry, we haven't got one. We haven't got any. You're not stumped. So you've got 3 that just trot off the tongue. So anything to kind of make you feel not awkward at all.
Yeah, I have quite a routine. Do you? I tend to have, because one of the difficulties when you don't drink is that, sweet drinks, you can have one, but then it's like, and I don't know, I get quite bored quite quickly, which is, kind of ironic considering I only ever drank red wine. But now, like, I need to change. So I tend to start with a Virgin Mary, tomato juice. Then I might have an alcohol-free beer. And then I'll probably have like a sparkling water. Then I might have a alcohol-free mojito. And then I'll probably finish just with water, sparkling water. That's my little routine. And then maybe a cup of tea if I'm still there. I haven't been able to leave yet and get my pajamas on.
Yeah.
So we talked about halt. Expectation can be quite difficult, because there's expectations on your part of having this really, really lovely time. But there's also expectations that are put on you from other people, which can be very difficult. I find it quite hard because in group threads, on WhatsApp and stuff like that, I tend to, before a party's being planned, then everyone starts talking about, what booze they're going to have, or, and what do you do about that? So again, I'm quite good at muting people, or just saying I'm really sorry, but I'm really busy at the moment and I can't be in your group. And I think, that...
I think it's that sort of boundaries again, isn't it? And, I think that there's that thing about reaching out to people and feeling connected, so you've got support, and the rest of it. So if you've got that support in place, I think you're maybe more likely to feel like, actually I can turn another that bit down, or I can come off that group if you're getting support from the appropriate place, aren't you, with your buddies, or a group like Club Soda. And the rest of them, and I think it's good to have that kind of smoke screen of like antibiotics or diarrhea, or like, not like you wouldn't be at the party.
That's certainly conversation stopper.
Yeah, that's going to stop you talking about alcohol, isn't it? Let's talk about that instead. That just kind of, whatever you want to say, you don't have to go into it with people, do you? It's like,
yeah, just don't engage.
No, I don't. I'd say that
just,
as well.
I was thinking about that today, about how people in the public eye, there's some people that they never explain it. They don't. It's just like, no, I don't drink, that's it. Or no, I've given up. Or no, I'm not drinking tonight. Drive everywhere. I mean, driving's great because then you get to leave when you want. You don't have to rely upon anyone else. It's seen as a legitimate reason for not drinking, unless you live in France, where I do, and everyone drives. And also it's like a massive pat on the back at the end of the night, because you're just like, oh, I'm safe, I'm in my car, I'm gonna be home soon. So
yeah, and someone was saying before as well, having a treat when you got home. She always had a bit of cake when she got home, or just like clean sheets. This goes to playing it forward as well. It's thinking about the future, and I just think that is one of the kind of biggest tools you can have, is that play it forward. Just thinking about, how am I going to feel the next day? And I know it's almost like this is a bit like, it can feel a bit like boot camp, I think, this period, and just going back to those strategies that you really know, and that are tried and tested. And that would definitely be one for me. And and I was going to say, we were talking a bit, maybe we should talk a bit about the Christmas day as well, because I mean, for me, it doesn't get better than not having a hangover. You know what I mean? Because in the past, there's been so many Christmas mornings because we peaked on Christmas Eve or something, and then my sleep's been ruined. And now then, in the latter years, I've been woken up at 4 o'clock by my children, and then I'm literally hanging all day, and thankfully I'm really grateful, because that hasn't happened for a few years. But I really do just, those still small moments with the kids when they wake up, and then then by Boxing Day, like, all the drama's over anyway, so it's actually only a short period of time, really. And I think often, in my experience, I would say it's like stage fright. It's like the first time you do everything, it's again awkward before elegance, but it's that stage fright. And actually, I will eat my hat if you don't come back and just go, it was so much better. Oh my God, who knew? The best kept secret. It's just getting through the preamble, isn't it? Often. I mean, I don't know how you find it, but that's how it's been for me.
I mean, I guess, I guess I don't generally like big family group. I just find it really hard work, personalities and people and the kids, and just like, not just my family, but my husband's I just find lots of people quite hard work, especially when everyone wants different things. And for me, it's just toning it down. And we were in England last Christmas, and I kind of planned all the presents that I wanted around things that were sober. So it was like big statements all the time. So I asked my brother, he got me a bottle of Seedlip. Like, I asked my parents, and they got me some nice tea. Like, I asked my husband for a nice teapot. So, under the tree, everything was quite sort of visual sort of things, that this is important and serious, and this is what I'm doing, and actually really exciting too. So I was just like, had lots of, I had new drinks for cocktails and stuff like that, mocktails. But other than that, I generally just needed time out. So I just said I was really tired. I was quite lucky in a way that I'd had like a foot operation, so I was hobbling around on crutches, so I was actually in quite a lot of pain. So you know, it was quite a good thing to do. Yeah, lovely. But yeah, I just think we push on through, and we're so scared of saying, you know, actually, I might go and have a nap, or I'm just going to go and have a lie down, or I'm going to go and read my book, or I'm going to take the dogs for a walk. I love it, you know, even if it's not your dog. Oh, do you want me to take the dog for a walk? Or I'll go to the shop. I do a lot of that. Like, oh, don't worry. No, it's fine. I'll go. Because I just need to breathe and have some, and, you know, I've only really learned that, and that thing of kind of being, an introvert since I stopped drinking.
Yeah.
And, you know, that anxiety and all those things that you try and cover up when you drink, definitely is just, actually you can resolve that by just removing yourself from the situation and having a break. So
For sure.
yeah. And go on.
Well, I was just thinking about, again, the sort of the fact to see it in context, to see it in perspective. You know, again, there's that "don't compare your insides with other people's outsides" kind of quote that always really helps me. That, you know, it can be really, when you come to sort of milestones, they can have that thing of making you reflect, and that can make, you know, it can be a really positive thing, or it can be often quite a negative thing, because it throws up things from your past, or it throws up memories. You know, they can be mixed, can't they? So you've got Christmases and milestones. So you might have had stuff happen that year that it throws up. You know, it's certain. This year it's the first since losing my sister-in-law, so there, you know, there's an element of anxiety around that for me. But so to not compare it, and that those expectations, and also that it is only a couple of days. And, you know, and I said to, in fact, it was my sister-in-law told me this quote, and it really made me laugh. And it was that it's an old Chinese proverb that said, if you sit by a river long enough, the bodies, I don't know if I can say this in public, the bodies of your enemies will float past, right? But basically what it's kind of saying is that sometimes it's good to do nothing, and then, you know, and then it'll be dry January, and then every bugger will be doing it, and it'll be fine. So, you know, to throw that rock a bit further on, you know, cast your gaze a little bit further on. You know, it could be doing an amazing sort of vision board for what you want next year and planning your trips or something, or it could just be like, okay, just let's cast this forward to dry January, or just even a few days up, because everyone will be joining in. And I remember that first year that I did it, it was just like, it was a freaking relief. It was like, we've got through it. But so, you know,
embrace the not doing. That's what you said earlier, isn't it? So, you know, it's not doing. So, like I said to you earlier, it's not like someone's telling me I've got to swim around Brighton Pier in my underwear in the freezing cold. Like, that would make me scared. It's not like I've got to do something. It's just I've got to not do something. So just not drink. Yeah,
so just drink, you know, and the rest is going to be fine. You know, it's just managing those feelings, like we were saying, like getting out of the situation, or, you know, that gratitude thing again. Oh, you know, we've come back to that a few times lately, haven't we? Of just, it is a powerful sort of sober tool, really, when you're feeling a bit.
Yeah, I think what I've found, which is something I've learned over the last year or so, is that I tend to make my world really, really big. Like, I love connections. I love talking to people. I love kind of, you know, discussing things and seeing people and going out, and you know, I'm social, etc. And then when things are difficult, what tends to happen if you're continuing to do that, that's when you get overwhelmed. And the thing for me now is that kind of making everything as small as possible. So, you know, not that many people around, just focusing on my immediate family. And something we've talked about recently in terms of awe, which I loved, and it's kid stuff, you know, it's stuff when you're a kid. Take, you know, I don't know, like do little manual things, or go out and see the frost on the leaves, or it was today we went out in a forest and we were looking at all these mad mushrooms with the kids, and and you know, we're taking photos of the undersides of them, and you know, and I didn't do any of that stuff before. You know, just try and make your world as small as possible, really. So you're not stretching yourself open to potential vulnerability, I guess. You know, kind of get into that. We talk about going, well, I do anyway. Yeah. Rolling up like a hedgehog, or you know, or if it's really bad, we talk about emergency self-care, which is when I go in my woman cave, which is literally just like, you know, I need to sort of just keep it as small and simple as possible. Yeah. And you can do that, and if it's just too much, just say, look, I'm really sorry, but I can't come.
Yeah. And I think if you're hosting as well, you know, that asking for help and just delegating and just letting other people do stuff and bring stuff. And I know what I was going to say. I love this. This is a sober friend of mine who, she was like a really big entertainer. And when she got sober, she said she realised that she provided the entertainment, but she was not the entertainment. I love that, because how many of us felt like, oh my God, everybody's good time rest is my responsibility. I've got to make sure everyone's having a really great time. And it's like, well, it just
be the joker.
Yeah, no, you know, and that whole thing about just get out of the way sometimes, isn't it? It's like, out of the way, the world's not going to stop turning, everyone's going to be fed. But I think, yeah, if you're hosting, just to kind of lower the expectations. I like the idea of having just a good enough Christmas as well. And I love what you say about the awe, and I do. I've got a real Christmas is magical to me still, and more so since I've stopped drinking. And I love the fairy lights and the imagining Father Christmas on the roof, and I got my Kate Bush playing December Will Be Magic Again, and it's just like, I'm such a sucker for that. And you don't have to spend a lot of money, do you? And if you hate it, go away. If you hate it, just bugger off somewhere else.
Yeah. Do it. And I mean, way. I think that's it. And I kind of got a bit sort of like, you know, because I was getting into my own world of, I need to like hide myself away. But you know, if you love it and you embrace it and you want to go out and party and you want to put on a sparkly dress and you can, like, there's nothing stopping you. Just because I'm a bit bar humbug doesn't mean that you have to be. Like, I've just realised that I'm just done really in kind of those sort of social situations. Very rarely do I fancy kind of going out late at night. I sleep really badly. I'm really up for brunch and eating lots of cake and drinking nice coffee, but evenings, you know, it's kind of not really my thing anymore. But you know, if you still really love that, you know, then there's nothing stopping you, and just make yourself feel fabulous, and just make sure you've got some really nice drinks, and you know, crack on.
And karaoke. That's just me. This karaoke, you won't get me off it.
Yeah, I was saying that, and then I was just thinking about when we went to a sober party together, and I was the first one in the wig bin,
in the wig box,
getting the wig out, and those crazy glasses. Yeah. So yeah, I mean,
there's life in the old dog yet.
Yeah. But I think it's choosing, isn't it? It's choosing your safe space. You know, that was definitely a safe space, and it's so incredible. And I was thinking actually, I meant to say to Laura, if Laura was here, hello, Laura, no, that my first sober social was a Club Sober event, and it was actually in October last year, which is crazy that I'd never done anything with, you know, socially sober before sort of October last year. And we went to a pub and we did like a drinks tasting of Karma beers and really nice like food with Kim and some other people. And that's your safe space, you know. And those are the times that you will see me still, like, you know, getting up on the table and dancing on the bar or whatever. Because I know that I'm surrounded by good people, you know, and people that understand. But yeah,
Yeah, forgot. I've just realised we've forgotten to say. I had this idea today about, about the treats, and I thought it might be quite nice to sort of chivvy you on through the Advent kind of idea to send yourself a Christmas card each week or a little card in the post so that it arrives, just saying you're amazing and you rock and you've got this. And if you've got a party to go for, you could send yourself a letter beforehand, just going, I know you got this party. You look absolutely amazing. You look beautiful. You're going to rock it. And just kind of like little things arriving on your doorstep, like little love notes. So anyway, I thought that idea might be quite nice. I might do that this year. And so, is there anything else? We've talked about Christmas past, haven't we? Not forgetting, because the rose-tinted spectacles can really come on, I think, when you've got that onslaught of the adverts and stuff like that. So really, the play it forward, the overwhelm strategies, the lots of treats. I think that's it, and if it is a bit tricky, then you just kind of work it out. Sorry, did you see a small person then?
No, we didn't see a small person.
Okay, that's all right then. My daughter came in. I was like, okay, and
yeah. I think
working out what you win.
Yeah, and I think the play it forward thing, the best one obviously is that next day waking up hangover free is just the best feeling. And just remembering that it's a constant, every time you do it and every time you don't drink and every time you are a badass and you rock it and you make it through, you're giving yourself a pat on the back and you're making yourself feel stronger. The neurotransmitters in your brain are getting good messages. And every time you wake up, oh, hello, there's lots of people to say hello to. Sorry, I haven't been saying hello. Every time you do that, then it's getting easier, but it's also, giving you a good rush of good feelings. And every time on a Sunday morning when I sit in my bed and I read my book with a cup of tea, I love it and it makes me feel fantastic.
Well, it's that kind of, then working out what your rewards are, and that's why the treats are very important, because if we've been using alcohol as reward, especially when it's been pumped out of the TV at us that it is this connective, rewarding thing, you've got to counteract that with a lot of treats, a lot of reminding yourself that you're rewiring your brain to know that this, that choosing sobriety, choosing to live alcohol free is the best thing, because it gives all the other really, really good stuff. But then, get those sober treats in when you need them. I just think you can't get enough of them, really. And
I think as you were saying, in terms of socializing, in terms of these messages we're given of this glamorous dinner party and Christmas and all that, for me anyway, those situations are my worst, when all my worst drunk stories are at big events like weddings and parties, and the work Christmas party when I text my boss. I won't tell you the whole story. I will later. But, hugely embarrassing, ridiculously stupid things that I've done have always been in those situations. And, they don't show you that on the Iceland or John Lewis ad. But,
dude.
Sorry. They probably don't do those ads either, do they? They don't even. I live in France. Excusez-moi.
No, but
true. I mean, take a reality check. I mean, Christmas party. The worst things happen there. I mean,
So on that
get
point,
in and get out on that one.
But on that point, a nod to kind of Facebook. It's like places like Club Soda are safe spaces, aren't they, for us? But the FOMO, don't maybe it's time for a bit of a Facebook fast.
Yeah.
So you don't get the FOMO if you know that that's one of your things. Again, sort of it's boundaries, isn't it? And cocooning and making sure that you're just making some good choices around what might be a thing.
Just
We
to, just to,
probably,
yeah,
yeah.
just to, what I would, I just thought about this, but what I would do is I would mind map it. So I would put Christmas in the middle, and I'd do a spider diagram. And so look at, what you've got planned, where you're going, who you're seeing, potential triggers or difficult points, and then spidergram around it, what you can do to keep you safe in those situations. I think that's probably the most useful thing.
Yeah.
So I'm going here with these people. That person might piss me off. He always makes me feel really anxious. What am I going to wear? How am I going to feel? What am I going to drink? And when can I get out? Or I'm going there, I'm really excited. I don't want to, those are my old school friends. We always have a really wicked time, but they're all going to be drinking. So how am I going to manage that? And just, if you do, like, you brainstorm it, you should be able to find solutions for yourself, I think.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea. Yeah, and I think there's a difference just between kind of looking too far in the future and freaking yourself out. Because again, is 6 weeks away, but just doing a little planning around the things that you think might come up. And I think there's that distinction as well, because some people are just better not thinking about it. That's the thing, I suppose. But I think for me, definitely doing a little bit of planning. I was just really quickly blindsided the first year by Christmas tree day. I found Christmas Day absolutely fine, but the day that I put my Christmas tree up, I always used to drink Baileys, and I just suddenly was like, I was really angry, and I was like, and then I had an argument because I was angry, and then I was crying because I'd ruined Christmas tree day. And my husband was really great, and I just like broke down and was like, oh, I don't know, I can't do this. And he was just like, you're doing really well, love, just fine. So there's
so there we go. It's like
get blindsided, because also but the next day it's fine and it's passed. So again, you might get dips and but
then again, I'm sure you could probably find now like a really nice recipe for making a mocktail Baileys. So it's like, if it's that important to you, then you can find a solution. It's just looking for what that solution is. So
yeah.
Alrighty. All right. I've no idea what the time is, so yeah.
Oh, hello, Helen. That's a lovely message. We've never done one of these before, so I've just seen the odd message pop up, and
I know. So I'll just say hello to Claire, and hello to Lucy and Emma, and Alison and Sarah. So I've got them on my side.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because you started the call, didn't you? That's why you've got.
Yes, we're sorry about all that confusion at the beginning, but there we go.
What? Yeah. What can you say? There's no excuse.
What can you say?
So what we're going to say? Oh yes. So I don't know if we need details of the podcast and stuff like that, but it's LoveSober the podcast on iTunes.
Yeah. And everything's on the website, www.lovesober.com.
And so there's blogs on there, and there's details of the podcast that you can look at. You can also
follow us on Instagram.
And stuff, and also you could book if you want some top-ups before Christmas. You can book a coaching session for a Christmas, to brainstorm Christmas. That's really cool. And really, there's our email address on there is info@lovesober.com, but it'll be on the contact page there. So so that's us, and I hope it's been helpful. And if there's any other questions or stuff, just get in touch with us, really, and we'll get back to you. We love hearing from people. Okay, I don't even know how to say this now.
No,
I think you have to, and then.
No, me neither. But I mean, just to summarise. Oh, there we go. Jessie has said, thanks, Mandy and Kate. Here's a recipe for an AF Baileys. So there we go. There's a fake Baileys recipe for you.
Christmas tree day, Lord to its former glory.
Yeah. So thank you very much. And we really enjoyed it, and hopefully.
Me and Laura.
Thank you.
Last night, it was so strange. I just feel like I've been hanging out with you because I had this weird dream. I don't know, strange. But anyway,
Okay, well, lots of love, and yeah, stay sober, stay safe, enjoy it, have
Yeah.
fun with the
Yeah, find the
people that you
joy,
love.
find the sparkle, find the bits of magic for yourself. And also remember you're a freaking superstar. And it's just, I just love sober people so much. I just think they're awesome. I've never met a wrong un yet. Lots of love, superstars.
Lots
So
of love.
bye.
Bye bye.